Hello, I'm Alex Mansfield, the host of Manny Talks Shooting, and welcome to another episode. This is the shooting podcast where I talk to individuals all across the shooting industry. We'll talk competition, self-defense, concealed carry. If you like this content, check out our YouTube channel, Manny Talks Shooting. And without further ado, let's get to this episode.
Manny Talks Shooting is proudly presented to you by D2 Custom Guns. Did you know that Phil the Groundhog isn't the only thing Puxatawny, Pennsylvania is famous for? That's right, D2 Custom Guns, the home of Dan Heizenreiter and one of the best fabulous 2011 builders in the country. So make sure you guys go check him out, D2 Custom, anywhere you can see him on the social media, Facebook, Instagram, go check him out. If you see myself, Patches Reader, anyone with the D2 Custom Guns, make sure you go check him out and you will thank me later. Now, let's get on to the show. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of Manny Talks Shooting, the shooting podcast brought to you by D2 Custom Guns, the fabulous 2011 builder in the country. Puxatawny Phil, move over. Danstown, Puxatawny, Pennsylvania, or Heizenreiter, Pennsylvania. Big shout out to my buddy David Riddle of the Casual Shooters podcast. Hooked me up with this cool new camera. I mean, he sent me the link to it and got me the information on it. It's really fantastic. I like it. So thanks, David. I'm less on a potato now than I was. So without further ado, we're going to get into this episode. It's a single episode, guys, so you're going to have to bear with me again. Oh, my Lord, I'm banging things around with my Joe Peach tea, banging on my microphone. Totally amateur. Sorry, guys. It's okay. I'll just take a drink. And for Charles Burnett, it's okay, buddy. We're going to try to eliminate most of those as possible. So here we go. We're going to talk about last week's episode. Or the episode I put out was on match management kind of side of things, a match management recap that I finally got out. This week's episode is going to talk a little bit more about high performance. Not necessarily we're going to talk through stages. That will be a video coming once I get back from IPSC Nationals. So if you guys are listening to this on the 18th, tonight I'm recording with the Hobo Shooters out of the Carolinas. So it's going to be a good show. There should be 4 of them on there, plus myself. It'll be a great time. You'll hopefully hear about them and have a good time with that. But I left my cameras in my range bag that I ended up leaving at the Cardinal Center because I knew I was going to be back down for IPSC, so I didn't bring it home. And our car was full of stuff when we came home, so it was kind of hard to bring everything, but not the end of the world. So we're going to talk today a little bit about my placement at Area 5, the 2025 Excalibur Ammunition Area 5 Championship presented by D2 Customs, the best fabulous 2011 builder on the country and the market. It's fantastic. So I don't really feel like sharing my screen. Actually, I can. Hold on. Let's see. We're going to screen share. Sorry, audio listeners. You can't really see this. So, I'm really big. So I'm going to just get smaller. There we go. This is me on the match. So I shot 68 per... Well, let's go back. Let's just get rid of me first. There we go. All right. So if we are smart and intelligent, I would... Sorry, guys. It's a little finicky today. Okay, there we go. Put it back on the spinning wheel. All right. So if we go just to open, I ended the match at 36th. I was 36 out of 73 shooters in open division. I finished 68.42% of the winner, Christian Seiler. Congratulations, Christian, as always. Mike Huang put a very good matchup on him. 98.37% of Christian. John at 91%. John Vlieger at 91% in third. Greg Clement 88%. Chris Gelnett, 88%. So, very close race between Chris Gelnett and Greg Clement there for 4th and 5th. Austin Cisna, I have no idea who that is. Mike Pan in 7th. Rory Girthy, Guthrie in 8th. Kyle Copa in 9th. Sean McDevitt in 10th. Honorable mentions to Patches Reader in 12th. Colin Maxon in 13th. Ches in 16th, Magnus in 18th, goes on. And then I ended up, my buddy Bert in 31st. Where's Ron Kiesel? Oh, Ron Kiesel was where did he end up in the match? 17th. Ron was at 77.53%. And then my buddy Bert edged me out a little bit at 31st, and I was in 36th. So I was completely in the top half of the field and open, which was I didn't have a goal for that, but I was just like, all right, let's see where I can be. I got to shoot Friday afternoon, Saturday morning, which is a first for me. Normally I shoot on staff day. So I just get to watch my scores get piddled down. So as I said, 68.42% of Christian, in open division and in the overall because he won the match overall. So if we look at my stages in their entirety, stage 1 through 15, which was chronograph. So it was chronograph, I 71.86. Yeah, just enough over. 165 is major power factor for a USPSA, so I'm fine there. Anywho, let's talk a little bit about the stages. Some of the stages were better than others. Some were worse than others. So I shot the wood bays on day 1, and we started on stage 2, the strong hand only stage. And that was the stage in the match that everyone's like, just don't fuck up. Don't do something stupid. It's the first stage of the match for us. Let's stay strong and go at it. So I shot a very slow time. Christian shot it in 10 seconds. I shot it in 17. Just because I was a little slow and made sure I got my points. 9 alpha, 2 Charlie, 1 Delta. So very conservative on that with a 3.07 hit factor. The winning hit factor was a 5.5. So it was still a lower hit factor stage, but 2.5 hit factor different between Christian and myself. I was at 55% of that stage. Not the end of the world. Stage 3, I dug myself in a pretty big hole with forgetting to shooting at a target twice and forgetting to shoot at another target. So that put me at a 46.73% on that stage. 15 alpha, 2 Charlie, 2 mics, and a procedural. So we'll just play the what if. I'm kind of curious. The stages was fine. I mean, I can't complain on. I had a really great squad. So let me back this up. Shooting with the D2 crew, which was Dan Heitzenreiter, Patches Reeder, Chris Galnett, and Drew Maruski. Fantastic 4 shooters to be shooting a match with. Stephen Try was on the squad, and then some people I've never shot with was Ches, Brian Chow. There was another Charles for you. Keep counting, buddy. Magnus, can't pronounce Magnus's last name, and Colin Maxon. And those are the first time I shot with those guys. Those 4 guys over there. I'd never shot with them before. It was a great time meeting them, and the squad was hype and power. We were jitter juiced as we were on our jitter. We had a good time. The music was bumping. We were just having a good time heckling and shooting and scoring, and it was easy. We flowed really fast as a squad. A 10-man squad. Our 11th man couldn't make it. He was injured, so overall killer squad, great hype. We had 2 golf carts, so the D2 crew didn't have. The only person on the D2 crew who had to walk was Chris because he had so much crap. But I shuttled Drew, and Patches and Dan rode together and shuttled around. So second stage of the match, I dug myself a decent hole with the 2 mic FTSA. So I'm just curious. I'll take away the mic and the procedural and the 2 mics and put myself at 2 Charlies, which is respectable for that IPSC target at that distance. Then it bumps it up from a 3.7 to a 5.8, which would have put me at a 74%, which just that alone would have bumped me up to 31st at 70.54%. So just taking away that super mental mistake on that stage would have been amazing into the overall of my match. And it was just that I didn't look at it, I guess. I just was like, all right, I had my plan, which you'll see the video eventually when I get back from IPSC and I'm able to do the video breakdown. But what I did is I ran all the way to the left. You shot the partial. You shot everything in G. I shot a partial, the open paper that I engaged twice, a popper, and a paper that you could only see from there. Came back across because you didn't have to commit to the corner on that. You just had to go to the left fault line. Then you come back and shoot the 2 low boys in the middle, and then you were able to see a piece of steel and the paper between 2 slashed walls. And I didn't shoot that paper. I shot a different paper, the one I could see from the first position. And I hit the steel, and then I ran to the right, shot the open paper no shoot, came in on the hardcover, and finished on the 2 steel. So all in all, if I just didn't have that 2 mic procedural, would have been 31st at 70.5% of Christian. So it was just over 2.1% on the overall, which would have jumped me from 36th spot to 31st spot, which is not asking a lot, right? And then the other mics I had on the match weren't egregious either. Like I had a hardcover mic on a slasher, on a tux, and it was just outside, and I was like, okay, not the end of the world, guys. So yeah, and I dug myself a hole on that stage, but I was okay. But 70. So you live and you learn, right? Not super unhappy with my performance at this match. I was learning and I was shooting things on the move. I never thought I'd be shooting on the move, but when you're shooting with a bunch of GMs, 2 GMs and a lot of masters, you kind of get hyped up and ready to go. So that was the fun thing. Stage 4 was Swangalang. I shot a decent plan. It ended up being a 60%, 61% run of Christian, who shot it in 11 seconds. I shot it in 17, which is ridiculous. Holy shit. I don't know. I mean, and I shot a pretty aggressive plan. I shot a modified version of what Chris shot. Essentially, I ran all the way to the left, shot the target between the walls, the far paper, and another far paper. Ran across a little bit, shot a no-shoot and an open paper on the move as I was running to the back right corner, and then shot everything I could see from there. So it was open paper, steel, activator, steel, swinger, and so it was steel, open paper, ending on the activator on the swinging target over the swinger over the steel. Not the end. And I thought it was a pretty good run. There was some makeups on steel and on the swinger, but only 3 Charlie, 2 Delta on that stage. Stage 5, dogleg right, where everybody started on the right and they shot everything. You go tucks, far paper, and then you kind of take one step and there's like 2 targets there and 2 steel. And if you were smart, you went pop, 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 ping, ping, and you just did it on the move, which I did. The only goofball is when it came and there's a tuxedo target, you have to kind of arc around, and you were shooting it, and for the and it was like blam blam, and I was like, oh shit, and I kind of fell out of bounds leaning on it, and I shot it again. I was like, well, I'm already gone by. And then it was a very close line hit, and it was called 2 alpha for me by the ROs who overlaid it. I didn't even ask. I wrote it off. They just looked at it for me. Scored the rest of the stage. So that stage was 12 alpha for Charlie in 13:43, and Christian shot it in 9 seconds. So he beat me by 4. But he's the world champ. So I'm not expecting to be super competitive on time with Christian, but be respectable on the times. There's another for you, Charles. Where did you shoot the bobber from? Stage 6, the one with a lot of contention. 66.49% of the winner on that stage. 16 alpha, 8 Charlie, 2 Delta. I shot, the first thing is that you step off the plate, would shoot the low boy twice. I knew I had a mic, so I had to come back. On my way back through, I had to make up the makeup shot, but I got to the corner. Activator steel, waited for the activator, mini popper left, made the makeup shot the 4 targets on the move on the right of that front section, ran to the front, cleaned the rest, and then ran to the front left corner, which was a no-shoot target to enter, and one against the wall. Not a terrible stage. Nothing to be scoffed at either. So 66.49% of Christian, 33 mid-pack on the stage. Mike Huang won the stage at 15:51. I shot that stage in 22 seconds. So 7 seconds, 8 seconds behind pace. Christian was like in 17 seconds. So, and then stage 7, so fixed, so time. And as match management, we're looking at the fixed time, and I'm like, I don't know about the time, guys. Like, I really don't know. And we based it purely on the math of assumption of Leif's assumptions, which weren't completely wrong, but it was just like, I don't know. And then I went to shoot it. I had 2 no penalty mics, 61%, 61 points, 61 hit factor, because in fixed time, points are time. But I only had 3 alphas, 8 Charlies, and 7 deltas. Purely from the fact is the targets are a lot, I didn't aim up at the targets. Like, the alpha zone was like above, it was like at head level for me, which is about 6 feet. I'm not 6 foot, but it felt like that. So I just kind of extended the arms out, and I was just shooting like the bottom part of the targets. So not really aiming, but it was, and I had all the shots, and I think it was my coolest thing I loved about this match was 6.5 seconds, and I shot all the targets. 2 not on paper, not great hits, but hey, I could do it. And that's the cool thing about being able to know your abilities and push the speed. And I didn't even feel like I was super pushing, but it was definitely a great stage. I enjoyed it highly, and I think everybody did too. So then we'll go back to stage 1, which is the last stage of my day, which was I shot at 64.73% of the winner, which was Mike Huang. Christian had, that was like Christian's only bad stage of the match. I think he had like a mic no shoot or something. Anywho, so 64.73 of Mike Huang, 21.83. Mike shot it in 16. I'm like, holy shit! Like even the fast guys on my squad, like Gelnet, shot it in 16. Oh, did I? I had an issue on the stage. I can't remember what it was. I didn't have to rack or anything, but maybe I was just not hoofing it enough. Anywho, so that stage was fine. I did have a hardcover mic, which sucked. So let's do the what if. Let's just edit the score, and where the mic was, we'll put in an alpha because I knew it was a tuxedo target. So there we go. Review takes it from a 5.1 to a 5.8. And then that would have bumped me up to 27th place for the match and open at 71%. So I totally deserved to eat that mic. And I had 2 no-shoots on the second day. We haven't talked about those yet. But, yeah. So, anywho, nice stage. A nice thing to end on the match. I was the second to last shooter because Drew was the first shooter on the fixed time stage. So, and he kind of set the tone on fixed time. And we were all just like, yeah, let's go. If Drew can do it, we can do it. Because he was the only carry optics guy. So it's like, all right. So great day. Didn't look at any. I mean, the scores are kind of skewed. Like, it's like, oh, you're at 51%. I'm like, how? No way. No freaking way. But we also shot the low point zone the first day. So, and then we started day 2 in the morning. On Saturday morning, we shot Bobissimo, stage 9, the unloaded table start stage. And I shot it pretty decently, 62.17, 62.31%. Christian won it in a time of 11.80. I shot it in 18.21. I did have a malfunction. I had a click no bang, and that was because it was a high seated primer. So 13 Alpha, 2 Charlie, 1 Delta. And this was the 2 bobbers. So everyone, I was like, I'm going to go to the back left first, shoot that one target, shoot the activator sequence kind of in the middle, and then kind of come shooting in on the 2 paper targets, and then doing a wide transition. I think the whole squad kind of convinced most of us to do it a different way, which was the way I ended up doing it, where you load the gun going forward, shoot the far target to the left, and then back out on the 2 paper in front of you. And then by the time you backed out, you're in perfect position to shoot all of the activation sequence. So it went big popper on right, big popper on left, mini popper on the end on the left. And then it's the first bobber that's going to appear is the left bobber. So it's pop, pop, and then the second bobber comes up, pop, pop. You shoot the little mini popper that was behind the big popper. You shoot that one. And then it was run to the other end, and shoot the last paper. If you're Chris Galnett, you do it flying out of the shooting area and shoot an Alpha Charlie and be like, yeah, boy. Best video from the match. And that was our first stage of the day. So he had a scraped up knee and a rolled ankle off the rip. So, like I said, great squad. And then stage 10, the best stage of the match, not for my performance, but it was still a good performance on the stage. But it was meet you in the lobby. On when we reviewed it for the match, the WS bid said me, you in the lobby. But we turned it back to meet you in the lobby. Good stage, sponsored by Manny Talks Shooting and D2 Customs. So I really can't complain there. I picked it because it looked the coolest when I put up banners. So 18 Alpha, 6 Charlie, 2 Delta, 2071. Christian shot at 1582. So 5 seconds off his pace. And I want to see his match video, because not that I shot it. I mean, I definitely could have gone faster on some of my transitions and splits. But I thought I shot fairly well. So not the end of the world. Stage 11. So retrograde, my best stage of the match, 10th place finish in open. 85.98% of the winner on that stage, which was Christian. He shot an 11.62. I shot it in 13.85 with 12 Alpha, 5 Charlie, with a 5.7762 hit factor. So he beat me by a whole hit factor on that stage. And I went right first, shot in on paper, steel, hardcover paper, ran to the left, shot open paper, partial behind the wall, ran back, shot the one target on the right, did a weird transition all the way over to the left target, and then transitioned back to the right as I'm all retreating in my feet, and shot that paper. So good stage run otherwise. Then we go to stage 12, a target in every port, 62.61% of Christian, who shot it in 1570. I shot it in 2384. I did have a no-shoot, which kind of flubbered up the whole process, but 25 Alpha, 25 Alpha, 5 Charlie, 1 no-shoot. And I did make up the no-shoot. So it was like Alpha Charlie no-shoot, unfortunately, on the target. But I just kind of gave up the gun and just pulled one down into the no-shoot, and I saw it, and I made it up. So otherwise, not a terrible stage for me. Stage 13, increase your forward allowance, 68.4%. Another one with a no-shoot. 18 and 6, 1 no-shoot. Christian's time was 13:28. I had a makeup shot, 2 makeup shots or so on this stage. Off the start plate, I ran back, shot an open paper and a no shoot from there, ran across, came in on a no shoot. That's where I got an 2 alpha no shoot target. I was like, God darn it. Cleaned like 3 other targets up on the move. Transitioned to the right of the stage. It was like a no shoot. It was a hardcover and a steal that I tried shooting. I shot the hardcover, missed the steal, so I ran up to the next position and then finished it up there, which then it was shoot right to left. It was open paper, steal, open paper against a wall, which would ding behind it because there was a steel protecting the activator cable from that. And then it was the swinger that went back and forth. Single pass on that, or was it double pass? It might have been a double pass, and then open paper, and then the steal I missed. Other than that, it wasn't a bad stage, but the no shoot definitely hurts when that could have been much better. All right, since we're already playing the what if game, we're just gonna get rid of the no shoots, guys, on both stages. Doesn't increase my hit. It doesn't terrible. It doesn't hurt me terribly to do that. So, no. There we go. I do like having a competitor app. It does help. Takes my hit factors up by about 0.5 on the hit factors. And then overall, they did all my edits, 72% of Christian. Not the end of the world, but not realistic. But then stage 14, this is stage 13, shot all alphas on 11:18. Christian shot it in like 7:73. He was spicy. I just knew I was like, I need alphas. I can't give up bad shots on this stage. Not super good. I could have gone faster. 100% could have gone faster on this stage. But live and you learn. It was clean. And then we finished on stage 8. Sort of looks like Idaho. 22nd place, 76.21%. 22 Alpha, 5 Charlie, 23.79. Christian shot in 18.13. So about another 5 seconds or so off on the pace. But 5 Charlie, so pretty good there. Shot the no shoot right to the left of me. Took a big 2 steps off the rip. Shot the no shoot, the far paper in the back left corner, the paper bomb between 2 walls, and 20-yard mini popper, 2 mini poppers in front of my face, and then a hardcover retreat to the back. Shot a no shoot, then an open paper, did a reload. Shot the tuxedo between 2 walls, and then slowed down. Shot 2 mini poppers on the move. Ran to this position that I was able to clear the rest, which was paper box tucked behind a wall. Another open paper that you could see from the beginning if you wanted to, but I shot it at the end. A paper that was tucked in the corner you couldn't see, and a paper that was behind a wall that you had to shoot from the end of the stage. So that was my match. Ending myself up, and let's get rid of all the edits because, oh no, I was at 36th place, 68% of Christian Seiler, and that was a 22-minute episode of Manny Talks Shooting. We talked about the stages. You will see videos of them soon. Eventually when I get all my camera footage. Luckily, Chris sent me a couple of videos that he took Skycam of as well, but we will move on from there. So the next episode you're going to hear is about the hobo shooters from the Carolinas that will be coming out here next week. It'll be recorded on the 18th when this goes live, so that'll be fun. But as always, guys, get out and do the things. I will see you on the next one.